So let's take a quick look at what's making the front page headlines across major newspapers today. The Nation, Punch, Vanguard, Sun, the Daily Trust, and the Guardian.
And joining us this morning to give flesh to these whole news issues is Aneke TV's in-house analyst, Res Aro. Mr. Res, it's a pleasure to have you on Sunrise.
Thank you for having me this morning.
And how was your weekend?
A fine weekend. We have gone through the weekend as we used to, because we used to do it in a very special way in Nigeria.
Okay. And how is Nigeria treating you?
Fair.
Fair?
Fair, of course.
Okay. When you say fair, what does that mean?
Fair is fair. I do not know exactly how else I'm going to begin to define fair.
Okay. But when you say fair, does it mean that the motherland is, let's say, from 0 to 50%? 50
Well,
to 100?
I bought fuel at 1,400 naira to go for a burial during the weekend. That is fair.
Okay.
And of course...
you slept with 24-hour non-interrupted power supply?
No, that is exactly what I'm saying, that as we slept with a little power, and the rest of the night was, filled with mosquitoes everywhere. So, and that was fair.
All right. On that note, let me submit.
Okay, so we go over to the newspapers and we have the Nation's headline which says, Tinubu, why my celebration is subdued. Then we go over to the Punch headline which says, PDP convention, Wike bloc installs new National Working Committee in Abuja. Now we go over to the Guardian headline which says, ADC settles for consensus as PDP scouts for presidential candidates. And we go over to the Vanguard headline which says, deadline tomorrow. 4.6 trillion naira banks recapitalization sparks sectoral battle for funds. Now we go over to the Daily Trust, which says 2027, Kwankwaso Atiku Obi joins forces against Tinubu. And we go over to the Sun newspaper, which says APC governors consolidate grip on party machinery. APC governor consolidate grip on party machinery. That's the Daily Sun. APC governors consolidate grip on party machinery. We're starting our analysis today with ADC's, that's on the Guardian. ADC settles for consensus as PDP scout for presidential candidates. The Guardian headline which says ADC settles for consensus as PDP scouts for presidential candidates. The African Democratic Congress is adopting a consensus approach to unify leadership ahead of elections, while the People's Democratic Party, PDP, is still searching for a presidential candidate. The construct shows different strategies as both parties prepare for the next political cycle. This is already what we saw last week, and just in time where a lot of parties are already, it's alleged that parties are already having consensus to pick their candidate, which weakens party democracy. Now we are having ADC trying also to get into consensus, looking at the Obi and Kwankwasia movement. And looking at this, Peter Obi joined Rabiu Kwankwaso just in the other day at Kano to mark the Salah celebration. And that union already alerted Nigerians on possible coalition which can battle with the opposition party. Yes.
All right. Mr. S, let me get you right into the fray. We are speaking to your ADC, the coalition party here, speaking to resulting to consensus.
It is not out of place, it is not unconstitutional, it is not against the law. The electoral system provided that parties can take to any form of presentation of a candidate for the elections, especially that of election through option A4, direct primaries, or consensus. So if the party feels that it's going to be painstaking for them, because The new coalition is just a fresh party, kind of. What I'm saying is that a new vista has just been injected into the party. ADC has been there, but it is almost as good as not being there. But now that a vista has been injected, a new vista has been injected into the party, it's like it's coming up afresh. And coming up afresh, political party sponsorship in Nigeria has been a serious problem. As such, they're now thinking about how to begin to talk amongst themselves and have an agreement on consensus candidates. And it is not bad. We saw consensus even in PDP. PDP party primaries, they had consensus again, and so on and so forth. So we even saw consensus, part of consensus, even in APC during the convention they had just a few days back. So consensus is an integral part of democratic norms. So if they well help themselves without having problems and say it should be this, I think that would be worthwhile.
That would be worthwhile. But let's speak for democracy. How do you think this issue of consensus, though constitutionally now allowed through the Electoral Act 2026, what does that speak for democracy in Nigeria?
Okay, when you talk about democracy, democracy is the government by the majority. Democracy is about more people agreeing on a particular condition. That is democracy.
More people agreeing on a particular condition.
Yes.
This very condition they speak about.
That's democracy.
All right.
And if the party agrees that a candidate will represent them, it is still democratic, provided there are no problems. It's only when you have disagreement that you now talk about going to the polls. So if there's an agreement by the majority of the people that this is exactly what they want to do, and the generality of the people or more number of the people agrees to that, and that is consensus. So it is not different from, it does not have anything against democracy. It does not, impede on democracy. It does not have, in fact, it's an integral part of democracy since the greater number. And what is democracy? Government by the greatest number. That's the number of people agreeing that this is the way to go. That's all. And that is democracy for you.
All right.
Sometimes they will begin to, by long sentences, you say government of the people, by the people, and for the people. So
right.
Then that's a long sentence, but it means a greater number. If we are 50 and 40 says yes, then automatically it's democratic.
All right. We agree with you that democracy is a government by accredited representatives. But when we speak to this issue of consensus, in party politics, it leaves a greater number of the party faithful at the wings of the elites. And I ask, where would this leave the issue of godfatherism in politics? Because obviously, the elite, the party elites that would take this decision, because in the sense that the generality of the commoners, of the populace, of this party will not be part of that decision making. It has to be a consensus amongst the elite, amongst the people who have the capacity to vie for position or speak on behalf of the party.
When you say the people, you see, you talk about leadership. You talk about leadership, and you talk about followership. You see, all the members of a political party has leadership. And this leadership is what they follow. This is what they align themselves with. This is what they want to agree with. You see, for them to become members of the party in the first interest, they share the same interest as every other person in that party. What I'm talking about, the collective interest and aspiration of the members. And when you say followership, It means you have ceded. You have ceded your franchise, followership. You have ceded your franchise to the leader. And if you are talking about the top echelon, members of the party, top echelon members of the party coming to have consensus, sometimes it does not even go that way. It begins to go from the wards. The consensus begins to go from the ward to the local government, from local government to the state, and finally to the national, depending on the level or whatever position that person is seeking for. So it's not about, in the world, the consensus for who will go for ward councillor, for instance, is done within the ward, at the ward level. The consensus for local government is done at the local government level, and that of the state is done within the state. It's only when you get to the national, and of course, when you get to the national, you would have had, agreements on where to go. And that agreement is, people are not isolated. States are not isolated. So states are carried, local governments and states, and of course even the wards, are carried along in the purpose of deciding where to go and who to go for them.
All right. But before I get back to the issue of ADC in this matter, this issue of consensus, does it in any way, help to check monetization of delegates, the kind of money politics that dominate primaries?
That is one of the best things about consensus. You see, I earlier said, sponsorship of political parties has a big problem. It has been a big problem in Nigeria. You find out that when you begin to have some, what they call those bourgeoisies, who will begin to fund party politics, then you stand to lose, lose, or if the party comes into power, because the bourgeois will be pushing the government towards a direction of benefiting them, instead of benefiting the reality of the masses. So if you cut down the expenditure being made politically, that will help Nigeria's democracy, for instance, because we have even made laws about how much that a candidate has to spend in, prosecuting elections into such position. Yet, these laws are not implemented. Nobody has ever been taken to court that the person spent maybe beyond what has been stipulated by the law. Nobody has been. So, consensus tends to keep monies, and keep the bourgeoisie from investing so much money into party politics, wherein they will stand to reap most of the dividends of democracy.
All right, let's talk about to ADC. The coalition is a marriage of different political interests, and now we're speaking to consensus. How do you think that this issue of consensus will not lead to, this unity among these varying interests in ADC moving forward?
Yes, wherever there is a block of human persons with some collective interest, sometimes there must certainly be fractions amongst them. Sometimes you can never have a place where you have absolute. We are not in heaven. You don't have absolute peace. They are bound to be. But I want to tell you that one, what puts them together is their collective interest and aspiration. That is what brought them together. Of course, the individual interests of every member of a political party is still there. But that individual interest is subsumed by the collective aspiration of all the interests. So that is why they are together. So if they have a problem, if they are wise enough, they have wise leadership, they will see how they can always resolve their problem. That has always been the problem of most of these political parties in Nigeria. They've always had problems. Erufai was in APC, Malami was in APC, they are no longer in APC. Of course, all these cross-carpeting and moving from one party to the other is as a result of interest, interest going away.
Yes.
That's the interest of persons not served. And when your interest is not served, you look for where
your interest will be served.
there's a greener pasture, and then where your interest will be served. Like Kwankwaso, who even came to ADC now. They had won him into APC, but he wanted to have a place where his interest would be served, and they couldn't make any categorical statement as to where he would belong. Do you understand? The man would want to run as a vice presidential candidate in APC if they had agreed, and he would have gone into APC.
Yes.
But unfortunately, that is his personal interest. Okay? And there are other people, the ADC now actually is giving him that option, that if a Southerner gets the presidential ticket, Kwankwaso will run alongside. And possibly there's a marriage that is being nurtured by the ATC between Obi and Kwankwaso.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, we go back to the Nation's headline, which says, Tinubu, why my celebration is subdued. Nation headline says, Tinubu, why my celebration is subdued. The statement refers to comments attributed to Bola Tinubu explaining why public celebrations around certain achievement, that's his birthday, were toned down. The overall message emphasizes restraint in public festivities in consideration of prevailing national conditions, including economic pressures, governance reforms, and security concerns. And this is what it says. Well, it is Mr. President's birthday just around, and he went to the National Mosque after he was done with the prayers. He said that he doesn't want to go into a large celebration or calling forth the balloons, citing national issues, insecurity, and the electricity blackout. He mentioned that these things are the key national issues he's working on, and that he commended the people, the masses, for their patience, and also reiterating his commitment to governance and to reforms, looking at the electoral reform, and also looking at how his fight against insecurity as the president of Nigeria and the things that has come along with it. That was also where he said that he will be adding 1,500 megawatts to the national grid, the surge and the supply, are things around this. Now, Mr. President's birthday, from what we have seen over the time, used to be a lot of commendation here and there, people sending in their requests. But his birthday, first of all, this time around is toned down. And I must not forget to say happy birthday to Mr. President, regardless of whatever that has been happening in the issues in the nation, whatever that has been, however it is. I must not forget to, wish him well as he continues his years in the office. Yes.
Mr. Rice, Mr. President is celebrating 74 years. And happy birthday to the Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic, the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and the President, the GCFR. We celebrate with him, we wish him more healthy years, wisdom to lead this nation to a greater height. Mr. Rice, our President, 74, is making promises, speaking to power, speaking to the things he would add. In fact, we are seeing a president who is burdened with the welfare of the nation, a father who cares for the nation, who wants things to thrive, who wants to bring development for the people. He is pained, though, that the pace of development is not commensurate with his heartbeat and the things he wants for Nigeria. Mr. Press, let me get your insight.
And that's why he's been sober about this celebration. That's why it is said it is subdued, which means it is low-key. But at the same time, I want to remind us that the president, on 29th of May, he would have been 3 years in office. And we'll have about a year from 29th of May for him to round off the first term. But if he wins again, he will continue. But after about 3 years now, we have not had any improvement in power supply. You see, he's beginning to apologize to Nigerians for having patience. That is to say, he's commending them for having patience, which means it is a subtle apology. He's now seeing that what ought to have been done has not been done. That is the implication of commending Nigerians for being patient with the administration. The implication is that what ought to have been done has not been done. It has not been achieved. And he is now promising to do what? Add. Before he even came in, Nigeria had more than the quantity of electricity being produced before he came in as president. So I'm wondering that the energy output became so low, and he's now promising to just make it up, to bring it up, which is to say that somehow within the period of 3 years, that his administration has not really worked well in the sector of energy. That's the implication. And for him, and that's a self-censorship. For him, the Mr. President censored himself and saw that there is problem in Nigeria. And that's why he's commending Nigerians for being patient for the government that has not been able to achieve certain things. He's commending Nigerians for being patient, that is to say that before now, Nigerians would have revolted against the government. But Nigerians being who they are, based on the level of docility among the populace, the Nigerian populace, they have kept quiet, mute, and they have been going on. They say when the trend gets tough, the tough trend gets going. That is Nigerians for you. So Nigerians are just the tough that gets going when the trend gets tough. And that is exactly what Nigerians are in terms of responses to how government manage their own resources. So, Mr. President is generally sober, and that sober reflection is brought to bear in his statements. In his statements during the marking of his day, he only marked. I don't think he celebrated his birthday. He marked that day. Because if you talk about celebration, there would have been fanfare and all that. People, there would have been crowd and all that. But that is not to say that we did not have him going to London for well-packaged reception and dinners and all that. So if he was really thinking about the situation in Nigeria, he was really perturbed so much the way the summer reflection did in the present circumstance, he probably would not have gone to London. But because of the fact that they were going to London to take a $746 million loan, they do not want that thing to wait. And of course, his friend, who owns the company that got the job, eventually, they were all just ready to just go there and get that deal done. Otherwise, they say a stitch in time saves 9. Otherwise, probably the money may not come. So these are some of the things that one begins to think about in the present circumstance. But all the same, the president, of course, has shown that he has the interest of the masses at heart. He has spoken about it. He has shown it. And if Nigerians will, they will listen to him. This is their president. this is the president of Nigeria, so Nigerians will listen to him. Otherwise, the opposition is there warming up to, of course, stop him from a second tenure if he has to work hard. So within this remaining 1 year or before the election, if he would be able to to take up his game, I think it will be good for him.
All right, very well said. I couldn't have put it any better. I wouldn't have framed the words any better. But however, he's our president, and we need to celebrate with him. We need to wish him many more years filled with strength and wisdom to lead this nation to greater heights. And of course, Mr. President is so worried about developments in Nigeria that he has refused to celebrate, and showing his willingness, his commitment to the job and to the people of Nigeria. He did donate his salary since assuming office for the welfare of the Nigerian armed forces, particularly those who are wounded in the line of duty and the families of fallen heroes. And he said he described the initiative as a tribute to the courage, sacrifice, and service of military personnel. So to that, we commend Mr. President. Yeah, you have something to say?
1 month, 1 year, or 4 year salary?
He said his salary since assuming office.
That is 4 years.
Yes. So he's dedicating it to giving it to the armed forces. And why that is commendable, like I did say, I wouldn't have framed your thoughts or the words the way you put it any better. But let me leave it at that Mr. President really cares. He cares about this nation such that he took the pain and the trouble not to celebrate when he should have rolled the drums like it did happen in London and celebrate, and would have sang on his mandate on that very day and celebrated with him.
All right, thank you very much for that. We go on a short break and we'll be right back with other updates. Stay with us.
In every generation, there exists a defining force. A force shaped by curiosity, driven by ambition, fueled by possibility. Where ideas evolve into innovation, skills transform into enterprise, and vision becomes impact. Because empowerment is more than progress. It is transformation. The voices shaping tomorrow. The idea redefining possibilities. The generation building the future.
Welcome back. Still on the newspaper headlines, and we go over to the Sun newspaper, which says APC governors consolidate grip on party machinery. APC governors consolidate grip on party machinery. Governors under the banner of the All Progressives Congress are reportedly strengthening their control over the party's internal structures and decision-making processes. The development reflects increasing influence of sitting governors in shaping party leadership, strategy, and future electoral direction as political positioning intensifies ahead of the upcoming election. It is good to say that basically it's a consensus of parties, especially in the parties. But APC has been on the news since last week, where they are coming together. The 32 governors are coming together to make their choice of who to represent them, who will go and sit on that seat. Looking at Lagos, citing the Ondo State, where we have the Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, who has promised that he will fix power in 2 weeks' time. And also talking about that, we are talking about Tunji Alausa, the Minister of Education, who is meant to also have that seat as Lagos State Governor. And then also talking about that, we have the Lagos State Deputy Governor, who is said to be the one to replace Sanwo-Olu. And it is, of course, the first time, or we could say the umpteenth time such a thing is happening, where we are having a vice replacing the current sitting governor in the next election. So this is what is happening, where parties, these people are making the decision now, not just the parties, but they are selecting their candidates and ensuring that these people they have selected fits into the roles. That could be a problem, or that could be something else. But yes.
Anyway, one thing that is very clear to us is that the governors are taking over party machinery in their state, as that is exemplified at the convention in Abuja, as we witnessed it, that the governors are in charge. In fact, if you listen to the Senate president, he was saying that it could exceed that 2 states. And when we speak to this issue, if you see the way the APC operates, APC is a machine that operates, that is oiled from the subnational. They always want total control from the subnational, and more power is being given to the governors to, harmonize the front. They do not want a cacophony of leaders. Rather, they want everything hemmed in together, which is why we've seen the likes of Dagogo expelled from the party, not giving room to take the party to court. No, it's a machine that is well oiled, well serviced, both from the grassroots to the center, and they do not want any dissent. So seeing the governors taking charge of the party, yes, one would say that yes, the APC governors will continue to consolidate their grip, on party machinery. And if you take a closer look at the pictures after the convention, you see that at the various states, you saw the local government chairmen and their party faithful singing on the mandate of the governor at their state. And in turn, the governor will go at the center to sing on your mandate, and collectively they will sing on the mandate they stand. So the APC is a well-serviced machinery controlled at this moment at the very firm grip of the governors. However, Mr. Reyes, we are speaking to APC, where the governors are consolidating powers, taking control for the party at the subnational.
There's no doubt about that. The governors are actually taking control, but there's a question I want to ask.
Okay.
I'm just asking this question, it just occurred to me. Is this same powers that the governors are exuding in their various states also applicable to the governor of Rivers State, Fubara? That is a very great question, because I have not seen anybody talk about Fubara and who he wants to be the member of the National Working Committee of APC and anything. We have not heard about him. We have not even heard about any intention of his actually running for elections. We are not hearing anything about him. It's like he has gone really comatose, just administering the River State. I do not know. But that's the question I want to ask. Then there's no there's no doubt about the fact that the APC governors are becoming almighty powerful in their states as leaders of the party, as leaders of APC. They are now the persons that will think about who, which means the governors have been given power. Also, that power impedes on democracy, except that the followership tends to have ceded franchise to him as the leader of the party. Except that. Otherwise, for the governor to take the sole decision of ensuring that whoever they want to have in various positions is the person they will have. So, which means, a very superpower has been given to them. So, APC should try as much as possible to wield down the powers of the governor in such a way that it will be democratic. Just like the state police issue is coming up. They want to wield down the power of the governor in the control of the state police so that it will not be used as a tool. So the governors now are going to become almighty powerful. They will say, you are going to House of Assembly, the person goes. You are going to Senate, the person goes. You are going to House of Reps, the person goes. Which means some of the democratic norms, is sure to be eroded by the powers of the governors.
All right. usually the polity wears the look of the leader of the party, and Mr. President, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has a peculiar way he operates in a democracy if one takes cue from Lagos. Since after he became the governor of Lagos and has been calling the shots around the political party and the party issues in Lagos State, you see that he is one that is so enamored to the party hierarchy selecting or giving power to whom they feel is so suitable and takes it away when they feel that the person no longer aligns. But speaking to the issue of River State, I think the most important thing is that River State seems to be at the grip of the APC head or tail. Mr. President is in charge. He has the control. The votes will follow, either through PDP or through APC. Fubara at the head, yes, Wike at the tail. Wike at the head, yes, Fubara at the tail. Give or take, the votes would come in, and that's what counts for APC.
That's what counts.
I think they are more sure of they are more sure of River State.
That is what counts for the president.
For the APC,
not for the APC in River State, because Fubara still remains the governor, and there are chances he will want to make a return. So what happens to him?
But it's obvious where the APC stands on this. The governors at the subnational who are going for a second term obviously may not have any encumbrances from the party hierarchy. Speaking at the national level,
You think so?
they may not have any encumbrances from the party. Yes, from there. So, and I don't think that Fubara
Because
will
I
be
was
an
thinking-
exception. Will be an exception.
Yeah, I was thinking there's an exception to that powers of the governor, the governors of APC, in the circumstance that surrounds the Fubara governorship. So I'm thinking that UK has been insisting he's not going for a second term. He must go after re-election, and Wike wants to install another governor, and maybe a governor from PDP or from APC.
How sure is he that that person will not be worse than Fubara? That the person will not look him eyeball to eyeball? The way Fubara fights and looks away.
That is politics for you.
But however, I don't think that Fubara is the only APC governor who is operating from the sidelines. There are many APC governors that we didn't see make noise. We didn't see the likes of Ododo shout. We saw the former governor seated there. So there are many of the APC governors who are operating from the sidelines, who are calm, silent, going about their business without making much noise about it like Fubara. So I don't think there's any much in case of Fubara going forward.
All right, we go over to the Daily Trust, which says 2027, Kwankwaso, Atiku, Obi join forces against Tinubu. 2027, Kwankwaso, Obi, Atiku join forces against Tinubu. A possible political alliance involving Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, Atiku Abubakar and Peter Obi ahead of 2027 elections, aimed at challenging the incumbent Bola Tinubu, reflects growing strategic realignment and coalition talks within Nigeria's opposition landscape as parties position themselves for a competitive electoral context.
All right. It's good to see the alliance of the coalition, that the strong man of Kano politics perhaps is tilting towards the ADC. But for the names mentioned, we know that El-Rufai is bereaved and is fighting legal tussles. Likewise, Malami. These may not just be the names. I didn't hear Rotimi Amechi. There are a lot of them there. But however, before I give opinion on this issue, Mr. Rest, we are speaking about the coalition. What are their chances?
Well, the coalition is working hard to put their ass together because it's not easy. I just said that they did not start early to strategize as to where to go. But at the same time, it was very difficult to actually have a platform because they were looking for a platform. Initially, they went to SDP, the Social Democratic Party, but it was not much time. They discovered they had problem there. They now left for ADC. Of course, they tried other political parties They even saw that PDP as nothing, that Wike has already hijacked the PDP then. So what they looked for and found ADC stayed, and the Labour Party was having a problem where Obi came from. So these people all came together. Of course, Atiku Abubakar was in PDP, Obi in Labour, Kwakwase in NNPP, and many others. They came together to form a coalition and under the platform of ADC. And presently, they are working hard to see if they could get the party together and strong enough to challenge the almighty, powerful APC with 32 governors. Of course, 32 states structure in one party. It is quite overwhelming. It could still overwhelm the ADC at the end of the day. But, well, we do not know. Because if we do an opinion poll, if you put an opinion poll on any of the social media, you begin to see that some people are still very strong against the present administration. You still see that. But it will be difficult, especially when you have the governors and the various states who are APC governors. And of course, the chances of APC winning the election looks higher than that of ADC. So it depends on how well ADC gets prepared, how well they put their things together, how well they mobilize the Nigerian people to vote for them. That is exactly where you begin to see a magic, because it must be a magic. It must be a magic for ADC to come on board. It will not just be an ordinary election. It cannot just happen ordinarily. It must have some magical undertone for them to come on board.
All right. Before we continue that conversation, here is a letter from Senator Rabi Musa Kwankwaso, PhD, FNSE, his press statement on his resignation from the New Nigerian People's Party. And he says, I wish to formally announce my resignation from the New Nigerian People's Party, NNPP, with immediate effect. I seize this opportunity to express my profound gratitude for the honor and privilege of serving as the party's national leader and its presidential candidate in the 2023 general election. As a committed and bona fide member of the party, this was not an easy decision to make. However, considering the current trajectory of the nation's political landscape, which calls for strategic realignment, I have found it necessary to identify with another political platform that offers the best opportunity to effectively change the nation. I extend my deepest appreciation to the national chairman, Ajuji Ahmed, and the entire National Working Committee for their steadfast support throughout my time. I also thank the Board of Trustees, the National Executive Committee, and all levels of leadership across the party, from the ward to the state levels, as well as legacy members of the party and all followers of the Kwankwasia movement for their dedication and commitment to our shared mission. We shall continue to collaborate and work together towards charting a better and more prosperous future for our dear nation. Signed, Senator Rabi Musa Kwankwaso, PhD, FNSE, former Kano State Governor, 2023 presidential candidate, New Nigeria People's Party, NNPP. And that's from Senator Rabi Musa Kwankwaso. And let's take a few replies or responses to that. And one team at Val Team 001 did respond. He said, well, this should have happened in 2022. I don't see any genuine intention with all of this sudden alignment. Another person responded, a bold and calculated move by Senator Rabi Musa Kwankwaso. This resignation signals pragmatic realignment rather than retreat. Kwankwasia's structured grassroots influence remains a potent force in the north, and shifting the ADC could strengthen opposition coalition ahead, crying, another person taking on in the comments says, welcome to ADC, Madugu. Another one says, welcome to ADC. Then we're seeing King saying, the alignment of the Kwankwasoya and obedience movement will unseat Tinubu in 2027. Another person, Brian, reads, he says, the game has really just begun. Depends on if they are sensible enough not to alienate the South. With this political machinery, the North already has a solid opposition. Unfortunately, Obi only is the opposition of the South. And that's the much we can take on these responses to Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso's resignation from NNPP. And obviously, with the fillers in, it said that the movement is solidly with that of the coalition. But Mr. Rice, let me bring into the conversation. We are seeing Kwankwaso here, who pulled over 1 million votes in the 2023 election. We are having Peter Obi, who pulled about 6 million votes, and then Atiku is there as well. What are we really seeing the possibility of these men challenging the APC machinery that is well-oiled, well-controlled at the subnational?
Well, it's not just about the three of them. They now have dispersed fragments of their fellowship. They have fragments of their fellowship dispersed already, which means it's not as if maybe they will pull exactly what they pulled during the 2023. They might even pull more than they have pulled. That is still because the electoral issues are very dynamic. So the chances of some of them pulling more and coming together to pull more votes are there. But that is still dependent on how well they prosecute that election, because it is not going to be easy. The APC is so ready, so calculated, well made in such a way that they are ready to face any opposition. So the opposition must be sound and prepared for whatever the process. And remember, the factors associated with the general elections, the factors of apathy, the factors of vote buying, the factors of rigging, the factors of compromises by even the umpires, officials of the umpire, are still there. So they must be nipped in the bud. The factors of compromise by even security agencies, some security agencies, they are all still there. These are the factors that tends to, play out during Nigerian elections. So the opposition must be very mindful of that and very careful too, not to allow these things to rear its head or come up in such a way that it will now affect their votes. The important thing is, if INEC will deliver a free, credible election, free and fair, a credible election, then automatically Nigerians will be happy for whoever that wins, whether it is Ahmed Tinubu's led APC or the coalition, either led by any of these three persons you called.
All right, thank you very much. Moving on to other issues, that is making headlines as well. Though I bet a very funny one. We're moving to River State, Port Harcourt, where a few days ago, OPM's GO Apostle Chibuzo promised gift offers, lifetime salary, free house, 10 million naira cash, overseas vacation, and 20 million in advance to any woman who can marry his autistic adopted son. In just 3 days, the marriage has happened. I'll call for the video on that.
Is there any young girl or woman that is interested in marrying an autistic person? The general overseer of OPM Church is interested to get this young man married, and there are going to be benefits attached. If you are a lady that thinks you can get married to him, you'll be put on a lifetime monthly salary, and you also get a lifetime accommodation. And let me bring the camera close, so let us hear from Daddy Gio himself. Come close. So sir, you said you want to get this young man married, and he has a condition, a health condition that doesn't even allow him to talk. Sir, why do you want to get him married?
Why I decided to get him married is because the sympathy and pity I have on him. Because right now he doesn't even know what is going on with him. You know, as he's growing and growing, there is this uncontrollable sexual urge happening to him. He stays, he need to masturbate. My fear is this: let him not, let him not go to a state that he will just maybe hijack a child and forcefully, do something. So it is out of that sympathy. Okay, let me marry out. I'll pay the bride price. For the person.
Yeah.
Then the person will receive accommodation.
In an estate.
Yes, in an estate, and we receiving monthly salary for life.
For life.
Because right now he doesn't have a father, he doesn't have a mother. He was just dumped at my gate, and after he was dumped, I invited the police. Police came, carried him to the motherless baby home that is owned by the government, but they rejected him.
Wow.
They rejected him. So now the police now returned him back to me. So I have no choice than to take care of. I can't throw him out on the street. So I have to start taking care. So I'm taking care of him all this while. But now he's growing. He's going to school. He's growing. But this uncontrollable sexual order that is going on with him is something that is a cause of worry, and that is why I want.
Days, the marriage has happened. Somebody has come forward. I learned there were a number of persons that offered themselves. In fact, the GO, in his wisdom, has to select an older person, and we've seen the marriage has taken place. Mr. Rez, what are we looking at here? Is it the traction for the lifetime salary, the house in an estate, 10 million naira, overseas vacation, 20 million naira in advance to any of these women? That is the attraction here. Because like I did see on the, the clothes the guy is wearing, I saw 99 problems. So in lieu of all this, the women are so willing to take over the 99 problems in this instance. Let's get your opinion.
Well, getting him married because of the sexual urge, high sexual urge in him is very, very important. Otherwise, he might not stay in an environment with even children. He might begin to harass children and get them spoiled and all that. And he has grown almost into a man. Therefore, it was a good idea for Apostle Chibuzo to have done that. Then what made it worthwhile and attractive? Because how are you going to, he's not going to work for life. Remember, he's an autist, he has autistic syndrome, and he's living with it. He cannot work, he cannot be productive, and as such, he provided everything for whoever that will take. It's about taking care of him. It's about taking somebody who will take care of him for life. He has done well, brought him up. Of course, he had people that were looking after him while in the house because he was just going about doing his church ministry. So, and the boy has grown up. And when they found out these problems, they felt that the only way to take care of it is get a woman around him. That woman will now nurture him, keep him, feed him, do almost everything for him. Wash his clothes where it is not possible for him to do that. Therefore, for the man to make it attractive, for anybody to want to do any such work, there must be an attraction to it. And the attraction here is about the money. All these monies that have been voted, there's a house. So you are getting married to a husband and you are taking care of, completely taken care of, completely taken care of. You have a salary life, you have, 20 million, you have 10 million and all that. So all this money coming to a woman who is worth her onion, it means she will start some very serious investment. If this woman directs herself effectively, you'll find out that the sky will be her limit. It's not about and of course, if she's still within childbearing age, there are chances that they could begin to bring forth children, and who are not even, autism children. So, and of course, the family will fare well because they have everything. But let us pray that nothing happens to Apostle Chigoza, because I do not, he said for life. I don't know what insurance things he has done, so that even if he's not there, they will continue to survive until their lifetime.
All right. I will bring you into, let's get your opinion on this. But what I'm asking here is, what's the attraction? Is it a marriage bliss for the woman or the lure of money that is the attraction here? Because like I did see 99 problem, this is, she would continue to take care of this problem. I do not see moments of bliss in this union. Rather, the attraction perhaps is the allure of money, the housing, and then the privilege not to work.
The attraction is part of it. But I want to tell you that there are women who are praying to get anybody that's a man into their life. They want to get married. There are people who are desperately in need of a marriage life. They want to get married and be under a man. There are people. You see, when you get married to an artist under the care of Apostle Chibuza, it is indirectly you are under the care of Apostle Chibuza. So when you talk about bliss, what is the bliss in it? The bliss in it is that they have agreed to marry, she has agreed to put everything aside and get married to him. But who knows? I just hope that they do not have ulterior motives to come in and grab the money and seek for divorce. I hope that will not happen. So, because it is important that sometimes when you come in, some people might, I will go and do it. After doing it, after a while, they will now begin to seek for divorce and begin to give reasons, so many reasons why they must get divorced. So, well, let it be.
Okay, so this is, as we are saying it, I don't have a lot of things to say here. It's just simply that someone just got married. And whether it's for the price or for the person, there must be a price in this kind of issue. There must be a price, and I could say congratulations to them. And also, like you said, rightly pointed out, we pray that Apostle Chibuzo stays alive to, complete all these plans. And let it not be a poverty alleviation scheme for the other side. Rather, let it be a union. Already, you can't rewrite the story. You can't rewrite what happened. It's he was seen, and the conditions that are surrounding him is not that safe. So a help came. He announced it, and he selected. So it is okay. It is very okay. Like, we have been trying to avoid the societal issue of rape, societal issue of child abuse, child molestation, and this is a commendable one from Apostle Chibuzo. That's all I have to say.
All right. Opinions differ. As far as I'm concerned, Is there no possibility of the young man being rehabilitated in terms of being able to take care of his sexual urge? But like you did say, what I'm seeing here is poverty alleviation. Somebody's been taken away from the poverty ladder such that they will continue to receive stipends, perhaps for life, and a house to live a comfortable life. Because I see 99 problems, irrespective of how you want to put it. But Apostle, the general overseer could have gotten a nurse, taking him into an institution to take care of him. And then we are speaking about marriage. How do you want to explain to me that the woman may be able to satiate his urges? There are a whole lot of issues here. But for me, like you well put it, is a lot of poverty alleviation and a nanny to take care of the man. Perhaps, but I would have advised a nurse or an institution where they will have catered better for him, and there are likelihood tomorrow that we may see divorce coming up after this individual may have amassed and assessed the portfolios attached to this union. Anyways, we'll continue to watch and see how this sort of union unfolds. One thing that is certain, and for everyone to know, is that autism is genetic. Yes, it is. Can they procreate? Yes, they can. But there are chances that they may have children that are autistic too. The research has shown that. But on that note, we'll continue to watch. I'm not questioning the intention of the man of God in this regard, but I felt that there are other ways that such issues could be handled as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and that's a wrap on this edition of Sunrise on Naked TV. Thank you for waking up with us. It's always a pleasure. I'm Good Hope Chukuma.
And thank you, Mr. Ress, for those in-depth insights on news issues. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Uche, for having me. And of course, for you out there, keep watching Naked TV.
And I'm Uche Osai. On behalf of all of us here on Sunrise at Naked TV, we'll say thank you for watching and keep watching till we come your way same time tomorrow. Bye-bye.